What's happening, everybody? Sean, joined again by my son Trey, and today we're going to continue our series of the top albums. Now we're up to 2023, obviously. Top 10 albums, 5 from Trey, 5 from me. If you're joining us and you haven't ever watched one of these, there's a playlist, 1965 through right now. Every one of them today. Yeah, we spent a whole year doing it in 2022.
Yeah, so always fun to count down and reminisce right over the end of the year here, Dad. I listened to I think around 125 albums. I know you put in the work as well, especially in preparation for this video. And as I say, there's always good music every year. Sometimes you might just have to dig a little here and there, but I think this year especially, Dad, I'd say overall pretty strong year in a variety of genres.
I think so too. And Trey does a way better job than me. He listens to new albums all the time. I crammed at the end. I'd listen to a few new albums. I probably listened overall this year to 50 albums, right? And the way I do it, I listen to people that I like, but I also go all the critics lists. And if an album's on like all the critics lists, say what we want about critics, but if it's on all of them, it's usually pretty good. So
that's worth the listen.
Yeah, and that gets me into all kinds of genres and stuff too. So it does help. But the way this works, this year we alternate every year. This year I got first pick, so Trey gets 2 and 3, I get 4 and 5, and so on. So that's the way it goes, Trey. So I guess I'll kick it off.
Yeah, kick it off, man. What are you feeling at number one for me this year? There wasn't like a clear-cut number one. Neither. There was a lot in contention though in that same top tier level. So what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I bet I had probably 12 albums I thought could be in the top 5.
Yeah.
So then it just kind of becomes splitting hairs. But I went with Jeff Rosenstock, his album Hellmode, his 5th studio album. It's 11 songs, only 41 minutes. A few are more dialed back. It's extremely consistent. I really don't have any faves. That's the way it is for a lot of these albums this year. It's not standout songs. It's just, this is a great ride. It's 41 minutes. It's Rosenstock. And maybe his best, which is saying something, man. But I just thought this album was really good.
Yeah, man, this one got a lot of acclaim. I was a fan of it as well. Still, my favorite Rosenstock would probably be We Beg to Explode, which came out, some number, I guess 2016. I was going to say a few years ago, but shoot, that's already 8 years ago at the time.
Time flies. As you get older, you're learning that. Time flies.
But yeah, man, Rosenstock been one of the more consistent guys kind of in the pop punk genre, really, of all time. So I like that pick right there, Dad, for sure. And for my first pick here, second overall, I'm going with 2 of my favorite rappers and guys that I think are really creative, experimental, and continue to push the genre forward in this day and age. I feel hip-hop is in a place where in the mainstream, it's definitely on the decline as far as the most popular rappers.
Right.
But there are a lot of great, experimental guys out there. And so I got to go with JPEGMAFIA and Danny Brown with Scaring the Hose. You ever scared the hose, Dad?
Yeah, I might have one time or not. Trey, I actually listened to this album. It was going to be on my honorable mention.
Okay.
Because it was all over everybody's critics list. I'm like, I know I let him handle the hip hop because he knows a million trillion times more about it, what's great and what's not than I do. But yeah, and I thought, that's an album title to have in 2023.
So, just the production is, for me, the highlight for sure, but Danny and Peggy right here, JPEGMAFIA, deliver some really fun bars, and just again, you got gospel elements, you got weird abstract jazz, you got just crazy beats on this thing, and I'd say this was the album I listened to the most probably this year on replay as well. Just perfect. God Loves You, Fentanyl Tester, some wild titles for this as well.
Which it goes along with it.
But man, that's my first pick. And then my second pick is going to be one of the better pop artists, I think, of this century. I've always been a big fan of hers. And this just might be her best album right here. People, I'm going with Carly Rae Jepsen's The Loveliest Time. And man, just a lot of, I'm learning that I'm enjoying some of the almost disco / dance, almost revival that we're getting a little bit. This is just a very feel-good album. My favorite song of the year was her track on this called Psychedelic Switch. The production was immaculate on this whole record, and Carly continues to add some great songs and just another great album to her already really good discography right here.
Yeah, and that would have made my honorable mentions, but I knew it would make your top. But I'll tell you what, I think speaking about that, it is the year of the female artist. Like, there's so much great stuff like that. And on that note, we'll go with Chappell Roan, her debut, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. It's 14 songs, 49 minutes. great pop album, really good songwriting, right? A lot of the songs are fun and catchy. She's got Dan Nigro on there co-writing, who also works with Olivia Rodrigo and co-writes all her stuff. And Chappell is going to open for Olivia on her upcoming tour that starts in March. So that is going to...
She's going to blow up.
I think she's going to blow up, and I think she deserves to. This is not an album I'll probably go back and listen to ever. A lot of these albums are that way for me, but you know, I think we sit here in this chair. Yes, we're going to go with what our favorites are, but we always try to be analytical, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And objective. So just because I pick an album doesn't mean, but you've got to respect it for what it is. I can't go, I don't like that pop stuff. I thought it was really good. And then the third pick, I talk about being objective, and maybe I'm not objective here, but I think this album is fantastic. So did all the critics. Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. Weathervanes, his 9th studio albums. It is longer, and I usually don't like that, but because it's Jason, I do.
Yeah, you saw him last year, too.
I not only saw him last year, Trey, but he's doing a tour for Weathervanes this year.
Dude, I did see that. We're going to have to...
I'm going in July to the Majestic.
Let's go, babe.
It's at the Majestic.
Ooh, all right. We saw Nick Cave there. Great venue here in Dallas.
Great. So, songwriting, as you expect. I think Isabel's one of the best songwriters of this century. Songwriting is fantastic. Sure. Favorites, Cast Iron Skillet, which was also on Barack Obama's 10-year favorite songs. White Beretta, a fantastic story about this teenage girl having to get an abortion. Miles, which is the ender, which is kind of like a jazz 6.5 minute. And then Death Wish. You know, if you ever dated a crazy girl, you can identify with that. So that's my number 3.
Man, I feel that that record probably would have been on my list had you not taken it, but I was not surprised that you took it, knowing your affinity for Jason there. And great pick. And I'm gonna go back to the ladies that you were as you were talking about that. I'm going with Jessie Ware's That Feels Good.
She probably would have made my top 5 at the very end, so I'm with you there.
Again, really disco-inspired dance, electronic, just, again, a very, just kind of feel good. I want to, and normally I don't gravitate to that music.
I don't either,
I'm
but
not
it's
gonna
good.
lie, but when I heard this album, it came out earlier in the year, Dad, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, this is definitely I'd be stunned if this wasn't in my, top 5 or 10 of the year. And as the year played out, that was true. Jessie really an incredible artist in her own right, and I'm always going to be checking out what she's doing.
Yeah, I totally agree with this, and I'll tell you what, I think this was in the top 15 of every single critic's list I looked at. It's tremendous, and the next one you chose is probably in the top 10 of every critic's list.
Yeah, man, and we're going to follow that up with again, I think one of the more acclaimed artists of the 21st century. It is Sufjan Stevens's really emotionally charged album Javelin right here, man. And this one that was kind of the first time Sufjan fully acknowledged his sexuality, right? And also his partner unfortunately passed away. And so, anytime with Sufjan, even from looking at Carrie and Lowell,
so I was just saying, this is his most emotional since Carrie and Lowell. That's what I was going to say.
So, Sufjan has a way of really getting to the heart of things, so to speak. And, he definitely did that on this record in spades. Again, not one that I return to a lot, just due to the heaviness, so to speak, but one that I really do respect, and again showcases the way Sufjan's able to bring out that emotion in a wonderful way.
Yeah, and that would have been that probably would have been an honorable mention. Yeah. Now we're going to get to number 4, and this is one where it seems like most of these years I have something where people are going to.
No, I like it, Dad. I like
what is going on, but it's just true. Olivia Rodrigo, her second album, Guts. If you look at my Rate Your Music, I gave her debut album a 1 star. I don't think I've ever done that.
I was not a fan of her debut, that's for sure.
And the first song on this album, I don't think it's any good at all. I think her voice sounds horrible. I'm like, this is going to be more of the same. And then all of a sudden, I went into this album, I'm going to be honest with you, going, I'm going to hate this, but I'm going to listen to it. And I thought it was really good. I won't revisit it, but it's really good. It's her second album, written alongside, Dan Nigro. 12 songs, 39 minutes, just really, really good pop music. And this was probably in the top 5 of every single critic's list, and that's why I ended up listening to it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have. But I'm like,
this had a lot of buzz, a lot of juice. This album didn't make me an Olivia Rodrigo fan, but you know what? Tip my cap to her. She's again, I think, really primed and ready to. I mean, she already is a big star, but I think she'll continue to. Because I think she's like maybe 20.
I was gonna say, I think she's either 20 or 21.
She'll be a force, I think, in the pop music scene for many years to come.
I agree. So that's my number 4. My number 5. Let's keep it with the ladies. We got Mitski. The Land is Inhospitable. and so are we.
You know, with Mitski, those titles are always going to be a little artsy, right?
Yeah, right. You got to make sure you sound everything out. Her 7th studio album, 11 songs, only 32 minutes, so we are jetting. My Love, All Mine is a fave. Stripped Back, even though it's her first record with a full band she's ever done. Yeah. Great songwriting. Actually sounds country in some places. Yeah. But if you don't know Mitski, go run her catalog. It's very good.
No, I did agree with you totally there, Dad. I think this album was one of a good friend of the channel was my buddy Matt's. I think this was his album of the year up there for it. Yeah, man, Mitski really could do no wrong, man. I don't think she's ever had an album that I dislike. So this was definitely going to be, in contention for mine as well, Dad. But I landed with my final pick. We're getting a little country here.
Great pick.
I feel a little of the country, alt country vibe, kind of simmering up here, Dad.
I agree.
We got a lot of good artists. Chris Stapleton had a really good record this year. My guy Sturgill Simpson always doing great. But Zach Bryan, man, his self-titled album that came out this year was really great, and I feel he and just kind of the mainstream went up a level as well.
I definitely think so.
This album performed really well. He's got a great song with Casey Musgraves on here.
Yep.
Always a sucker for the the country male female duet right there.
I agree.
And so man, this whole album from start to finish is really good. Again, a lot of stripped back arrangements on here, but just wonderful songwriting just through and through. And he's another artist that whatever he comes out with, I will definitely check out. And so I think even if you're not normally a country person, give this one a spin.
Because it's definitely different. And last year, or the year before, whenever he came out with this last album, that was my number 2 or 3 album of the year.
Yeah, that's right. And that was a long one.
2 hours, 2 minutes, baby. I remember that because he had said then, now he changed it. He said if he had a song and it was even half done, he just went ahead and recorded it. He said it's streaming, why not? But he kind of dialed it in here. And that would have been simmering under mine. I have got a ton of honorable mentions. I got Chris Farron, Doom Singer. Shout out to one of our supporters, Rob, who shared one of his song battle off this album on one of our live streams. We're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Check that out down below. But he said he thought this was the album of the year or one of them, so I listened to it. And Chris Farron actually has a side group with Jeff Rosenstock, my number one guy.
Cool.
So I thought Chris Farron, Doom Singer. I got Ray, my 21st Century Blues. Victoria Monet, Jaguar 2. All these are all over. Boy Genius, a record, which a few publications have as their album of the year. I couldn't quite go that far. The National, I went back and forth on this. It barely made my honorable mention. I went back and forth. I took it out, I put it first 2 pages of Frankenstein. It's a more melancholy album.
The National came out with 2 albums.
They did. And the other one is not going to make it for me, but a lot of critics like the other one better. Gaslight Anthem snuck in with an album back in October called History Books. It's surprisingly good. I love Gaslight Anthem, but I watched some of their live stuff, kind of seemed like Bryan had lost the voice, Bryan Fallon, but this is really good. Carolyn Polachek, Desire, I Want to Turn Into You.
That was a good,
very similar to what we're talking about on the other females, right? You already mentioned Stapleton Higher. Little Yachty, Trey. Let's start here.
I'm impressed, Dad. The Little Yachty. That was another one that came out early in the year, and he kind of shifted totally, kind of had some psychedelic.
Yeah, it was definitely not what I expected.
Yeah, man. I like that one, Dad.
Anoni and the Johnsons, My Back Was a Bridge for You to Cross, really underrated. Blonde Shell, self-titled. Slow Dive, Everything is Alive. I'm usually not a fan, guys, of bands who come out with stuff, years after they were, because usually they're not good. I'm sorry, they're just not. You're not going to see the Rolling Stones, Hackney Diamonds in my honorable mention. I like the dudes. It wasn't a bad album, but it's not going to make it. Romy, Mid-Air, a very good electronica thing from England. Blink 182, one more time. Dude. I was shocked at this album. Still going on that. I was shocked at this album. It's pretty damn good.
No, it really is. They got my guy Tom DeLonge back.
Yes.
They got the original lineup back because honestly, their last couple of albums were pretty garbage.
Yeah.
But this, Dad, was definitely a return to form and one of the surprises for me on the year with how good it was.
Yeah, me too. And then we got C-Mac, Crazy Mad for me. Shout out to one of our patrons, T-Super. He was. We got a song battle up with C-Mac. And then Troy Sivan, the Australian man, Something to Give Each Other. I was surprised. I really like that too. So I don't have a ton of honorable mentions between the two of us. But
man. No, I think looking at this, Dad, overall, a really really
strong
year for music, and like we were saying, like, you know, a lot of different genres and different types of artists out here putting in the work. I think it was one of the biggest years for live music as well, with the concert. Sure. And I mean, figures, given that concert tickets are through the roof. We were able to see between the two of us, either together or separate, a lot of artists too, from the Boss, Bruce Springsteen. Yep. I saw The Cure. I saw 50 Cent. We saw Nick Cave.
Saw Jason Isbell.
Yeah, man. So you know, it's always fun to get the live music going as well. But all in all, man, a good little draft. It's nice to continue the series on, and already looking forward to seeing what 2024 has in store.
All right, but we need your help, guys. What were your top albums of the year? What do you agree with, disagree with? But be nice, man. You can disagree. It's fine. But let us know down below, and go check out the albums drafts from the previous years. It was so much fun doing those. So thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up and hit that big red subscribe button down below.
And if you'd like to help support the channel in any way, man, check out.
We appreciate it.
Check out our Patreon page down below, man. You can join us, just a free member. Check out stuff, join the community there. But we can also do reactions for you, or whatever else, man. We do appreciate everybody for stopping by. And until next time, thanks for watching. Happy listening, and we will see you.